According to the Digital Divide Council, the digital divide is the gap that exists between individuals who have access to modern information and communication technology and those who lack access. Our ability to utilize computers and access the internet has become increasingly important as we have completely immersed ourselves in the economic, political, and social aspects of the world around us. Unfortunately, not everyone has access to this technology. The concept of the digital divide calls to the growing gap between the underprivileged members of society, especially the poor, rural, elderly, and the handicapped portion of the population who do not have access to computers or the internet, and the wealthy or middle class who do. At some point in March 2020, all CARICOM member states had had cases of COVID-19 and had taken measures to prevent its spread, including the closure of schools. Ministries of education, tasked with preparing the youth of their country to become upstanding citizens and contributing members of society despite the pandemic, had to find ways to ensure that the curriculum was taught. Instead of the students coming to the House of Education, education had to go to the house of the student. Cynthia Bradshaw, the Minister of Education for Barbados, stated in April 2020, COVID is raising awareness of the inequalities in our system, such as those families that may not have access to electricity or broadband internet access, or only one computer that six children have to share. A major cause of the digital divide is a lack of internet access. A study showed that up to 2014, with the exception of Barbados, 50% or less of Caribbean households had internet service. Mobile broadband subscriptions averaged below 40%, and less than 30% of the population of each country had fixed broadband subscriptions. The cause of these gaps can range from technological constraints due to the lack of hardware and infrastructure, geographic constraints, as infrastructure is not available in rural areas, and socioeconomic gaps created by the high cost of service and the limited budget of the consumer. Since the beginning of the COVID-19 pandemic, this lack of equitable internet access in the Caribbean has affected education. Governments have attempted to bridge the digital divide by offering classes via radio programs, dedicated television channels, virtual learning environments, and lesson packages to be collected by students at their schools. But despite this, issues still exist.